And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Today we're taking a look at the WWE Dice Masters set that just came out. Now, I've already reviewed Dice Masters as a whole. I really love the game. This is a expansion, well, standalone game that you can play. Dice Masters originally came out as a Marvel game. Then there was a DC version, a Yu-Gi-Oh version, a Warhammer version, a Dungeons and Dragons version, and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle version. There's a lot going on. Now we have the newest one, WWE, which made me laugh when I first heard that it was coming out. And here it is. So I'm not talking about the game itself. I'm just talking about the dice that come in both this and the two expansions, the Teamwork and the Bitter Rivals pack. So I'm just putting them all together. We're looking at all this stuff involved. I mean, I already liked the game. I knew I was going to like this stuff. The theme itself, well, I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But before we jump into that, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the cards just so you can see kind of what's in this set. Here we go. So kind of a quick overview of many of the different cards in here. There's a lot of special abilities in here. We have a tune here when the superstar, which is the word they use for heroes in this game, is active. When you use an action die, do 1 damage to a player or superstar die. Okay, that's cool. We also have cross pulse. Now, as far as I can tell, all the cross pulse things are from the tag team pack cards. I guess it's kind of a thing. Cross pulse, which, by the way, is not mentioned in the rule book. You have to go online and find it, which is weird to me. But basically, cross pulse says when you buy the die using only the icons used that are there, and you can see that they have 2 icons, then you get to do whatever it says. So prep this die or immediately field the Sting Superstar die at level 1. I really like this one. You know, when you buy it, you can immediately put it out. So there's quite a bit of cross pulse that's included with this game. And it's actually a pretty neat ability, and is definitely more of kind of a deck building style ability. We also have Intimidate, so when these folks show up, you can pick someone else and basically scare them off the field for a turn, and these are definitely characters that would be intimidating. This is, again, this set uses keywords a lot. You can see how many different people here are intimidating. Call out, what does it do? I don't know, because they needed to fill the rest of this blank space with blanks. Now here it is. When this superstar die attacks, you pick somebody and they may block this character. Only they can block. Okay, it's fine. Really weird though. These cards are literally the same size and yet they can't put the text on this one. Tag out. All right, so tag out is obviously a wrestling thing only. So if after blockers are declared, you may prep this die from the field zone to give a target die +2/+2. This feels fiddly, maybe. I don't know how to describe it more than that. It's kind of an extra die, and I get the tag out. I know what they're trying to do. They're basically saying, hey, this guy came in and helped or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting to see that there, but I don't know if I want to play with this all the time, because while it's thematic, and definitely it's on quite a few cards in this game, I don't know. Here's Immortal. Immortal, when you purchase, except for when purchasing, whenever this card would go to the use pile, it goes back in your bag, which is pretty cool because you can have this just keep coming back over and over again. The Rock also has Immortal. All right, so those are just different things. Now let's kind of just go through and show you several of the characters that are included in this game. So we have AJ Styles here. There's Becky Lynch, Big E, Bret the Hitman Hart. And I'm not really going over all these cards. There's some cool ones here. In a bit, I'll show you my 10 favorite cards from the set. Just kind of showing you which wrestlers are included in this game. Can't see John Cena. And they definitely did a good job here about picking characters from all different times. I mean, depending whether you were a fan of Kurt Angle or whether you go back in time and you're looking for maybe Macho Man Randy Savage, or, you know, you're just coming to new stuff. There's Mankind. I thought it'd be interesting. They made Mankind one. I thought it'd be interesting if he was more than one character. There's The Rock, obviously very popular, Ric Flair, Roman Reigns, They even have Ronda, some new people. Sasha Banks, wears some cool sunglasses, I suppose. Scott Hall, who looks perpetually angry. Seth Rollins, one of the newer people. Then Shawn Michaels, one of the most popular people ever in the set. Sting is one of the few that has no special abilities. I'm not even sure this one's worth it, but interestingly enough, he will let you roll 2 different resources here, and it gives you a generic 1 resource. Looks like a cross-pulse character, but also you'll notice they have different character types, but very few of the cards refer to those character types. Very few say, oh, NWO or anything like that. And then The Undertaker and Xavier Woods. All right, so let's look at my 10 favorite cards from this set. So first we have Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was always one of my favorite wrestlers. I like this one because if he's the only person there, he's +3/+3, which makes him a 9/6 at level 3, but even at level 1, he is an 8/5. So that's a lot of fun. And then here, Ronda's card. When she KOs an opposing superstar die, that person loses a life. Now, the only problem with that is she's not super high stats. But the idea of that happening and the idea that the opponent's a little bit afraid to block her because it's almost like an overcrush of 1 in a sense. But I don't know. I like it. Then we have Charlotte Flair here. When the opponent fields a sidekick, she just does 1 damage to the opponent. So that's great. It makes them think twice about throwing the sidekicks out. Then Bobby Heenan here. When fielded until the end of your turn, for each die your opponent signs to block, they lose a life. Really like this one. So if he's out there, not a very powerful character. Very low character, actually. But just your opponent blocking at all, they'll lose life. Then Becky Lynch here, which has a ton of text on. It's hard to read. She has Overcrush, which is cool, especially since she's an 8/8 for a 5-cost character. That's pretty good. But it says when she's fielded, you re-roll 2 target superstar dice. Each die that does not roll superstar goes to the use pile. Becky Lynch does 1 damage to your opponent for each dice into the use pile in this way. That's pretty awesome. I really like that. She has a grand entrance. The artist, very, very simple. When fielded, you can KO a target pawn. Your opponent put that 1 pawn out there, can show up and definitely do some damage right away. And for a cost of 2, very cool. Triple H is my 4th favorite one here. When fielded, name a non-pawn superstar die, replacing all previous choices. While he's active, your opponent can't purchase or field that die. That's great. Pick one that they have a bunch of low-cost ones they filled their deck with. Then you can say it, and they can't use it. Number 3, the future. When fielded, name a non-superstar die and draw a die from your bag. If you draw that named die, field it at level 3. That's awesome. If it works. But if it works, it's really fun. The opposite of Triple H. Bobby Heenan is my number 2. Another one from him. Underdog. When fielded, spin all your superstar dice to level 3. Ooh. He is great. When he's out there, I will field all my level 1s every time I get them, because then when he comes out, they automatically go up. And then my number 1 favorite card, Becky Lynch again. When she attacks, you may choose an unpurchased, non-continuous basic action die and roll it. If it shows an action die, use it immediately. Again, 8/8, very powerful character, but I just like the fact that she can grab an action die, use it, and then put it back. Well, I guess you have a 50% chance of using it, but still a lot of fun. All right, now let's take a look at the basic action cards. These are included in the game here. And a lot of these are managers or different people. In fact, I was surprised to see Booker T here as the announcer. I know he's an announcer. I guess now he's an announcer. But they didn't put him in as a wrestler. But go figure. So we have just different things. The chair smash. I'm glad that that's there. Here's Jerry Lawler, the king. All blocking superstars deal double damage this turn. Here's Miz from Miz TV. They're sticking a lot of characters in here who I thought might actually, will we see these as actual characters? Who knows? Of course, there may never be a sequel to this. And then you have Money in the Bank basic action card. Here, swap a die in your use pile for one of your unpurchased dice that costs up to 2 more. I feel like they took that straight out of Dominion. This one I love a lot. Each player may add one of their unpurchased dice to their bag. So you have someone who's really expensive, a 7 or 8. This is great. If your opponent's not playing with expensive people, this is a cool action die to throw in your thing. It definitely accelerates the game. And then walk with the Elias. You draw 1, 2, or 3 dice from your bag, and your opponent guesses how many. And if they do guess how many, you put them back in your bag. Otherwise, you prep them. So you have a 2/3 chance here. There's a little bit of how many dice did I pull, but still super fun. I don't know what it is. I really like this. This one, by the way, when you draw dice, there's a 1/6 chance that it's really good for you. But either way, I like a lot of the basic action cards in this set. Alrighty, so we have a bunch of cards in the base set. You get this rule book. I still don't understand why at this point in time they cannot make a rule book that's slightly bigger, since it comes in this box at this point in time, and is comprehensive and includes all the terms that you might run across. These, which I don't know anyone who uses these, people either don't use them or they use the mats. This is kind of cool. They have this here. They tell you about the 2 expansion packs, and then they give you a list of what's in each expansion pack, so that's nice. These are the bags. They're okay. I mean, it's just a bunch of artwork thrown on them. And then the dice themselves. So some nice dice here. It's getting hard to tell the difference between all the colors. But there's no color here, which I thought was hard to read necessarily. And I do like the symbology that's put on the different cards, although this one does really look like Wonder Woman from the DC set. The different colors dice here, I feel like these colors are too similar to, it's hard to tell necessarily between the red and the purple and the blue are easy to tell apart, but the red and orange I feel are too similar. Other than that though, the components are great, and this is everything, and it fits in one box pretty easily. Alright, WWE is kind of one of those things that people love or they hate. You love to make fun of it or you love it. As a kid, I was definitely aware of all the wrestlers at the time, never really got into it as a kid, but knew who they were. Briefly in my young adulthood, really enjoyed watching it for a while and faded in and out, even though I do know the different wrestlers and stuff. It just kind of permeates pop culture. A game about WWE wrestling by itself is fine. I'm not sure this game thematically brings that through, as you have the different wrestlers attacking each other. Yes, they worked hard at having the tag team and the call out, and yes, you could just pretend it's a big match versus everyone type thing, but whatever. You can mix it with the other ones. Yes, you can have, Macho Man Randy Savage up against, Superman, up against Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Does that work? Ish. I think it might work better if you play the WWE one and you're like, hey, Spider-Man's here as a wrestler today. I don't know, since that kind of did happen. I don't know. But the cards themselves are fun. This is a fairly basic set. There's not a lot of complications here. There's some global abilities, not too many. There are keywords that are mostly explained. It's odd, again, that they don't explain all of them. But I think it works together well, and they did a good spread of wrestlers. Yes, they don't have every wrestler in the game, and I know that the Hulk Hogan, there's a whole big thing going on about him, but the fact that he's not in the game, he's probably the biggest wrestler not in here. But they did get some really big wrestlers, like Roman Reigns from today, and The Rock, obviously, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and like I said, Macho Man Randy Savage. And they did a pretty good job at spanning, at least from the 80s on up. They have these characters that are very popular, and if this does take off, if people buy it, they have a whole stable of people that they could still bring in. Will I often play it? Yeah, but I really like to keep these sets kind of separate, so I play all my superhero stuff together. I mix Marvel DC, that doesn't bother me. I don't know that I want to mix this one with it, but as a standalone set, I found it enjoyable. There's a lot of cool things in it. We actually did a playthrough. Me and Roy played a quick game of this when I first got it here on the Dice Tower channel, if you want to see how the game works. But if you're a Dice Masters fan and you like wrestling even a little bit, I think you'll enjoy this. That's the WWE Dice Masters. Dice Tower Judgment approved.